friends, welcome back to the channel. It's Tori, and today we are going to be talking about all the books that I read in December of 2025, which it's a little surreal to be doing our last wrap-up of the year, but I had some really good reads this month, and I am excited to talk about them. So settle in, grab a beverage, get comfortable, and let's talk about it. So the first thing that we're going to discuss is the elephant in the room that I didn't get finished in 2025. I was really hoping, guys. I gave it a solid, good old try effort, but we didn't quite get there. And that's okay, because this is a book that I didn't want to rush through, and that is Midnight Tides by Steven Erikson, which I am over halfway through now. And, you know, if I had literally sat down and done nothing else these last couple of days in December, I could have finished it. But I didn't want to finish it just for the sake of finishing it in 2025, because that to me is a boundary that, as we've talked about in the book community before, is kind of arbitrary. And I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to finish things by a certain date. So I didn't, but I am over halfway through. So for those of you that have been waiting to hear my thoughts on Midnight Tides, don't worry, it will be coming in the January wrap-up, if not before. And what I can tell you about it so far is that I'm enjoying it. It's very good. There are some things. I do have some criticisms of this book. I'm having a mostly good experience with it. We'll put it that way. But we did get through a good chunk of Midnight Tides here in December, which felt great, honestly, because I wanted to make sure that I gave it a good head start here in December, if not finishing it. And I was able to achieve that. So let's move on to the books that I did finish. Now, I went to the Dragonsteel Nexus convention at the beginning of December with my husband Ben. I had a booth there. I sold books. It was amazing, you guys. I got to meet so many authors, so many readers, so many content creators. It was just, the atmosphere at the convention was so positive and so relaxed, and everybody was there with the common ground of loving fantasy, which was really special. So I had a fantastic time at the convention. If you didn't know that I write books, go down in the description box below. You can find links to all of my social media, especially my website, where you can check out my fantasy western novel, my epic fantasy novel, and my paranormal urban fantasy novel. So with that out of the way, let's get to the books that I did read. On that trip to Dragonsteel Nexus and back, my husband and I ended up driving. It was like 19 hours each way, and that was a great time to get through some audiobooks. There was a book that had been recommended to me by my good friend Andrew over at Andrew's Wizardly Reads that he's really enjoyed in the past, and he sent me this beautiful omnibus of the first 3 books in the series, The Legend of Eli Monpress. The first book is called The Spirit Thief, and as you can see, each book is there's always a train. We only live like 8 blocks, not even 6 blocks from a train tracks, so every video. Anyways, The Spirit Thief, which is book 1 in this series, I think there's 5 books total, and there's 3 in this first bind-up, so it's very short. I think I read a lot of really, really deep, really layered, really dark fantasy books, and this was such a breath of fresh air in terms of just the lighthearted fantasy adventure story. And not to say there wasn't some dark pieces to it, there definitely was, especially toward the end of the first book. And not that there wasn't any depth to it, because there definitely were some cool character arcs and moments. But I think I had kind of forgotten how much fun just a classic fantasy adventure is. We have Eli Monpress, who is he's a thief, but he has an ability to use magic. And in this world, I think my favorite part about this book was the magic system itself, because she's working with elemental magic in a way that was very unique and fun to me. And so Eli can speak to spirits. He can speak to the spirits of, doors. I want to read you guys just the first line of this book, because I think it just kind of encapsulates the tone of the story so well. It was a great first line. In the prison under the Castle Allays, in the dark, moldy cells where the greatest criminals in Melanor spent the remainder of their lives counting rocks to stave off madness, Eli Monpress was trying to wake up a door. I mean, it's fun. It's really bingeable. Oh my goodness, we flew through this book. And if you're looking for something that has a bit of cheeky wit, a bit of heart, with that classic fantasy adventure kind of faint heist feel, I highly recommend this. And I'm really looking forward to continuing the series. I definitely will be reading on into books 2 and 3. And it gets a little dark toward the end, which kind of surprised me, but it's so interesting. The way that Rachel Aaron utilizes the magic and the way magic is entwined with humanity, and it's hard to explain without giving spoilers, but it is really fascinating, and I'm honestly pretty here for it. So, looking forward to reading book 2. Highly recommend book 1. It is a breeze of a read. Look how short that is. It's going to be fun to see where she goes in the rest of the series. Next up, we finished Snuff by Terry Pratchett, and this is the final written book in the City Watch sub-series of his larger Discworld saga. And wow, you guys, what a journey. Honestly, like, I didn't know what to expect from this final book. I was a little worried because as the final book that was written before in the City Watch sub-series before Terry Pratchett passed, sometimes when an author doesn't quote unquote finish a series, I don't know what his plans were for the rest of the series. I'm sure there were more books in the pipeline. It sometimes can leave us feeling unsatisfied. It can have this kind of unfinished feeling to it. And I was a little worried about that going into this book. I was like, where are we going to end up at the end of this book? Are the characters going to be in a place where I'm okay letting go of them into the future? Not that I won't obviously go back and reread the series a whole bunch of times, but is it going to be a satisfying enough of a conclusion for this series that I've loved so much? And it was. I was so happy. I was so happy with this book. And we listened to it in the car. John Culshaw's incredible narration throughout this series has honestly made me second guess myself as an audiobook failure because he is so good, you guys. I don't know what to say. This is the 8th book in the series, so I can't say a lot because of spoilers. What I will say is in this book, Terry Pratchett does the thing he always does best, which is to have a conversation about very deeply ingrained human themes through the lens of fantasy and humor when it's applicable. When he has deep moments and dark moments, he lets them be what they are. He doesn't try to gloss over the hard things, if that makes sense. But the characters that he writes will stay in my heart forever. They are so vibrant. They're so beautifully realized. I have so much love for this series. It's literally oozing out my ears at this point, and I know you guys have been hearing me talk about it ad nauseum the last couple of years, but I love this series, you guys, and this final book, while it isn't a conclusion in the traditional sense, left me feeling very happy and reflective and very much in love with the story overall. And I can't wait to go back and start Guards and reread the whole thing. I love this book. I absolutely love this book. I didn't even think this was going to end up in my top 3 books of the series. It definitely did. I think this is a brilliant book in the series, regardless of where it falls. And the heart in this book, you guys, please, if you haven't tried the City Watch yet, if you're looking for a place to start with Terry Pratchett, highly recommend starting with Guards. And if you are a Pratchett fan and you haven't gotten to City Watch yet, you guys are in for an absolute treat. If you have, you know, and you can comment below how you feel about it. But I absolutely love that book, and it is an honor to have finally finished this series and just be able to love it and go back and reread it over and over again in the future. All right, well, that's enough gushing about Terry Pratchett for one video. Let's go on to my next read, which was The Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, Volume 2. I've kind of described this as a slightly less crass version of Dungeon Crawler Carl meets the world of Alice in Borderland. And it's light, it's fun, it's interesting. There's a lot of game mechanics that are, in my opinion, worked pretty well into the story and the characters, so it doesn't feel like they're so compartmentalized that the game mechanics kind of take over the story, which is something I always worry about in lit RPG. And this is a light novel version of the story. I think it is also a manhwa, and also possibly, I can't remember if it's in like film form or not. I don't think it's been animated. I'm not sure. I might be wrong on that. But anyways, this was a random series that I picked up a couple months ago, and I bought volume 2 as soon as it came out because I enjoyed volume 1 a lot. Volume 2 gets a little weird in a couple places, and I was trying to figure out there definitely might be a couple of translation issues in this one. Just the way things were worded was very clumsy and awkward in a couple spots, and overall I don't feel like the story was as strong in this second volume. I still binged it, I still enjoyed it. But definitely not as strong as volume 1 in my opinion. I do still plan to continue reading the series when the next book comes out, but I should have a little bit of time before it does. I have no idea what the release schedule looks like for this. But yeah, it's good. It's fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. There are definitely some tongue-in-cheek moments that I really appreciated. And there is a young character in this series that I absolutely, there's a scene at the end, oh my goodness, the last like 30% of this book was so good, you guys. Best part of the whole book. It was so good. And there's a character in the little motley crew who's a young boy who has a scene toward the end that's just so good. It's so good. So this one was a fun follow-up to volume 1, and I look forward to continuing on in the series. Next up, I got to another priority read for 2025, and that was In the Orbit of Sirens. This is a science fiction indie published book, first in a Songs of Kamaria trilogy, and it is by my friend Tom Bruno. Now, I read Down Below Beyond by T.A. Bruno a couple years ago, absolutely loved it. It was in my book awards video, and I think it was even in my top 10 potentially. Absolutely brilliant standalone, great place to start with his work if you want a taste test. But I've been wanting to get to this for so long, and man, like, I was expecting it to be good because I had already read something that Tom had written that was really good. This was honestly, I don't want to say it was better than I thought it was going to be because that makes it sound like I didn't think it was going to be good. It exceeded my expectations. That's what we're looking for. That was the phrase. I knew it was in there somewhere. Anyways, this is so good, you guys. The beginning is a little slow. It does take a little bit to get rolling, and there are some character interactions and dialogue in the very beginning that are a little bit clunky. But the world building... So what's really cool about T.A. Bruno is he is a pre-visualization artist for DreamWorks, like the DreamWorks. And you can see that in the way he writes his worlds and his alien races. They're so vibrant, and the way that they're described is so colorful and interesting and inhuman. He's so good at that. And this book, do not let the cover fool you, because this book goes dark. Like, it goes dark. There are just the way that the timelines and POVs weave together, the way that the alien races are like included in the story. It's so hard not to give you guys massive spoilers for this because so much of what's cool in this book takes time to build and just explodes in the back half of the story. The last probably 40% of this I could not put down. And I immediately purchased book 2 and will be reading book 2 and book 3 in 2026 because this is a trilogy I have to finish. The world building and the concepts and visualization of this story, I think, are really where T.A. Bruno shines. There are some nitpicks I have with the characters, but overall, this was a very, very positive surprise for me. I was so excited that I loved it as much as I did, and I can't wait to keep reading in the series. So, huge recommendation for me if you are looking for really vibrant, character-driven kind of space opera sci-fi. And yeah, I was really excited that I was able to actually get to that book this month because that was a big priority for me here at the end of the year. The next book that I read in the month of December was a read-along with my Discord and my patrons, and that was Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. Where to start with this book? So, Blood Over Brighthaven showcases M.L. Wong's excellent writing ability, without a doubt. And especially, this book has one of, I think, the most impactful, powerful reveals in a fantasy novel that I have read in a very long time. The kind of jaw-dropping, oh my gosh, kind of reaction that I love to get in fantasy and honestly don't often anymore. Absolutely brilliant. And I think there's so much about this book that is phenomenally done. The world building, the concept, the magic system is so good. It's so good, you guys. What was frustrating for me, it was that burying that potential and amazing storytelling and writing was the fact that M.L. Wong chose her themes for this book, and then she took a sledgehammer and just, like, smashes your face in with them the entire book. And that is something that I really do not like in storytelling. I enjoy being invited into a conversation. I like having nuanced discussions about heavy topics. Those are things that I always really enjoy in storytelling. There is absolutely nothing subtle about this book. There is nothing subtle about this book. It is so unsubtle that it almost borderlines allegorical, in my opinion. And which, of course, if that was the author's intention, that's her choice. That just really turned me off of the story itself, which in my opinion was kind of a travesty because I really liked everything else that was going on in the story, and I kept getting yanked out of the story and my ability to think about it for myself by the fact that the author was there constantly going, did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it? I really don't like that, you guys, and it really lowers my enjoyment of the story itself, and it actually makes me want to think about the themes less than if it's presented in a way where here's the story, here's what's happening, what do you think about that? And that's it. Like, that's just not not the way I prefer to read my stories and themes. So I don't know what to say about it other than that. I will again say that the reveal of the magic system and everything is absolutely mind-blowing, and I had a full-on jaw-drop moment with it. Once again, Wong's writing is really beautiful, but I feel like having read Sword of Kaigen and then going through Blood Over Brighthaven was really disappointing, honestly, because I've seen her work with themes in a much more subtle way than Blood Over Brighthaven in Sword of Kaigen, which I loved for the most part. And it almost makes me wonder if, because this one was traditionally published, I mean, this could be a whole conversation, I don't know, but it makes me wonder if there was a push toward more overt, unsubtle themes, because, in all honesty, a lot of mainstream books right now are employing that type of storytelling, which is one of the reasons I don't read a lot of mainstream books. I don't know. It's completely conjecture on my part, and I feel bad because I wanted to like this book so much more than I did, and a lot of the themes I understand and can even agree with and have experienced, but I did not like the way that they were executed. So that's all I'm going to say about Blood Over Brighthaven for now. We did have some fantastic discussions about it in the Discord while we were reading it, so I do really appreciate that. But overall, it was definitely a letdown for me. And finally, we have my last read of 2025, besides Midnight Tides, which obviously I haven't finished, and that is The Lady Tan's Circle of Women, which also turned into a Discord read-along kind of accidentally. This is my fourth or fifth read by Lisa C. now, I think fifth. And yeah, it is my fifth. She's so good. She's so good, you guys. If you're looking for a female based historical fiction storyteller, Lisa C. is just brilliant, and she focuses on different female-female relationships in all of her books, whether that is a mother and daughter, friends, sisters, etc. And it's two friends in Lady Tan's circle of women, and this one follows a young woman in like 1400s China who is raised to be the traditional noble wife. But she's also raised with experience in medicine by her grandmother especially and her grandfather. And her journey in trying to use what she's learned and also be the kind of wife that is accepted in this society and everything is really well layered once again by Lisa C. She's a phenomenal writer. That being said, this is definitely probably my second lowest rated Lisa C. book. I think her other books that I've read are much more engaging in terms of character. I didn't dislike Yunxian, who's our main character, and I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing her name right, but if I'm not, let me know. As a character, I connected a lot with what mattered to her, but not her as a person, if that makes sense. I connected with her a lot because she especially works a lot with birth and helping women in their different ailments and things throughout life. And as somebody who is a doula, who also works with women who are giving birth, that is something that is incredibly important and sacred to me. And so there were so many things in this book that were hard to read, were relatable to read, for me specifically. But also, this was another one where I felt like the themes were a little heavy, not nearly to the point that they were in Blood Over Brighthaven, and I definitely wasn't bothered by these nearly as much, but it was there a little bit more than I think her other books are, where the themes in her other, how am I trying to say this? The themes in her other books are very much present, but the story always takes center stage. And this one, I felt like there was a little bit more tug of war going on between the story and the themes, if that makes sense. I'm still kind of articulating how I feel about it, but still an excellent book. I definitely think that Lisa C. is hands down one of the best historical fiction writers I've ever read. That has not changed, but this one didn't. It fell a little bit flat for me. I was hoping that I was going to enjoy it a little bit more than I did. So, our final reads for the month, besides Blood Over Brighthaven, we had The Legend of Eli Mon Press Book 1, we had In the Orbit of Sirens by T.A. Brunel, this is by Rachel Aaron. We had Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, Volume 2 by Sing and Song, and then we had Snuff by Sir Terry Pratchett, and finally we had Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa C. And I mean, my book of the month, do you guys even need me to hold this up? Obviously, it's Snuff. Like, there's a City Watch book in the month. It's probably gonna get book of the month. But that's a great way, honestly, to end 2025. I got quite a few priority reads read in this stack. I had some fantastic discussions with my Discord and my patrons. Yeah, it was a great time, and I really enjoyed this month of reads. It was a great way to send out the year. And I would love to know down in the comments what you read in December. What were your favorite reads? How's your year of reading gone overall? Do you feel like you're happy with how your reads went this year? Are you pivoting, making any changes for 2026? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, a huge thank you and shout out to all of my patrons. You guys are the absolute best. Down in the description box below, we have links to all of my social media accounts. I hope you are having a great week. I hope you are reading some 5-star reads to kick off the year here in 2026, and I will see you in the next video.